it's like if you agree with someone, like Raquel Welch's one great piece of ass, forget about it. Then it's also like if someone is the greatest thing in the world, like we get those peppies, forget about it. Sometimes it just means forget about it.
Looking like Jesus at the Last Supper, surrounded by snakes when the crowd loves ya. Who's this ruthless Judas? Doesn't matter, bro, he only has one goal, leaving you on sabbatical. Alien predator, making you pray to your God, pleading for your forgiveness when you face this mirage. Forget about it. It's a tale as old as time is reminded when you're blinded. What divine designed it led us to this moment. Lock, stock, and barrel, careful getting loaded. Shots off on arrow, caught in crosshair splittings. Justify the means, right? Left handle in troubled water, solo society.
He's the mixer. The selector. That's what they call him in London.
The Selecta?
The selector.
That's what they call Eric in London, or that's what they call mixers in London?
They call it DJs or producers, or I think DJs.
Huh.
I don't entirely understand. I know. I'm talking about selector. That's where like Static Selector. And I don't think he's from England or Europe or nothing.
All right.
Yeah, Selector. I'm talking about.
Selecta.
That shit wild, boy.
Eric did such a good job selecting on the Halloween episode, especially comparatively to our stories.
What?
How y'all doing?
Oh, to live the dream.
Yeah, doing good. Saturday afternoon. It's nice out. It's like in the 60s, I think, right now. It's not too bad. Hanging out with y'all, and we have beer that I'm actually excited to drink.
What is it?
Well, maybe it's not even a beer. It's really a michelada, which has beer in it.
I fuck with mango. Am I low?
Huh?
Just asking Eric about.
Are you
the
low?
audio.
Oh.
I mean, I feel a little low. I don't know.
I think your
Might just
demeanor is
be.
a little low, but your volume
well,
sounds
make
okay.
sure my mic fit my demeanor. Know what I'm talking about?
Just quiet and in the
Maybe
background.
that's my demeanor today. I don't know.
I hope not. That's not what we're looking for.
Well, I just want to make sure I'm not low. That's all.
Is that good?
I mean, sure. You tell me. You're the one hearing me.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
cool.
based off levels, we're cool.
Cool. All right. Anyway, sorry. Mango chelada or something. What were you talking about?
It is a mango chelada made with what's the beer?
Estrella Jalisco.
Yeah, which is a good beer. What does Estrella mean? What's that translate?
Star. Jalisco Star.
There's
Is it
star,
Jalisco
huh?
like the city? Is this, or is Jalisco also mean something else?
Like the state, I think.
Oh yeah.
It probably has a meaning of like what it like.
It's basically
Where it
like
got- yeah.
Texas of Mexico, boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In what way?
The Lone Star State.
Hello?
I see. And then it's also made with a brewery in L.A. They make I don't know what they do. Put the clamato in it.
Brewed
I guess.
in California. No, I think that's just they do it here because it's
It says created with Golden Road Brewing right on the front.
yeah. So I bet Golden Road Brewing gets the beer and then adds the clamato because it's like easier than shipping the clamato over there.
And the mango. And the
I don't fucking know.
picante.
Do not shake. Rotate gently to mix.
Oh, I didn't mix mine.
I mixed yours.
Okay,
your guys'
cool.
Already. That's why they were upside down for a while. Then I flipped
Cool.
them back over. So they should be. You might want to give it a little bit because they are some chunky boys, but
These big ass fucking cans remind me of Vegas.
I like them.
When I go to Vegas, the first thing I do, like in the middle of the day, walking like the strip of shit, is fuck buying the beer that's all expensive at all the little bars. When they let you just carry around beer, and Walgreens got these big ass fucking cans for like 2 for $3 a shit. $6 you load up on 4, faded in an hour.
Yeah, last time I was there, we just bought like 2 30-packs and then just took turns holding the 30-pack and walked around with. But, I mean, I like the tall can idea because you can just drink few of them, get them done. They get warm.
Yeah, you gotta
Vegas
go
is
get
hot
more.
as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so leaving them at the Walgreens and only getting a couple of tall cans that you can carry and finish, that sounds like a good idea. I don't know when the next time I'll be back to Vegas. I'm not a big Vegas fan.
Oh, I'm gonna guess April 23rd.
All right.
Let's go with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
423.
423, 22.
Yeah, 423, 22, 21. I missed it that year. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go. I have to go to Florida next year, and I have to go to Orlando specifically, and I'm not like too pumped about that location, but
Orlando?
yeah.
Why?
Work shit.
Why are you not pumped about the location? What's wrong with
Have you ever
Orlando?
been to Orlando?
No.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason. There's only a few things that you go to Orlando for generally. And it's
Nickelodeon.
It's not even really Orlando. You go there to fly to Orlando, and then you go to Kissimmee, and then that's where all the fucking Disney, Universal, and all of that shit. Which I think the Universal one is where the Nickelodeon one is. All the Nick stuff. But there's like the Harry Potter world and all that over there. All that stuff's pretty neat. And a lot of fun. I got to go one time, and it was a lot of fun. But outside of that, it's like people who live in Orlando and around there. Like Orlando's like a big giant strip mall. Everything just gives you that row of 10 businesses in one building, one level kind of feeling, and it's just that everywhere. And there's no like city. There's a little bit of like downtown areas and stuff. But I don't know. I took kids out there to wrestle a bunch in and around Orlando for little meets and stuff, and it's just
So you're shitting on Orlando then?
it's flat and boring. I can't say it's my favorite part of Florida. I don't know if it's my least favorite part either, though.
Oh, what's the least?
I'm not too keen on Jacksonville either.
What's wrong with Jacksonville?
It's another weird
That's where
place.
the hood's at.
I mean, that's where one of the hoods are at.
That's like the hood.
Duval. Hell yeah. I know that, but I mean, the Jacksonville Zoo's cool.
I mean, they all hoods, but
I guess no, Jacksonville's definitely better than Orlando. I don't know. I haven't been to some of the more terrible parts, I guess. That are like, I don't know. You go around Florida and you get a good mix of lots of shit. From everything where you'll go through like there's fucking towns everywhere, everywhere. You do not drive and see like big open spaces like you do between Pueblo and like fucking Santa Fe. That doesn't exist in Florida. There's fucking towns every exit, and you'll go from towns that like the entire road is lined with like conservative signs, and fucking billboards that are the most like, oh man, they're terrible. They're all like really forward abortion, like anti-abortion billboards and stuff in Florida that are all over the place. Like they're not cool, and they're everywhere in the South too. But Florida really, and it's a whole mix of people down to like Miami, which feels like a different fucking country when you're in Miami. It doesn't feel like
definitely
you're
feels like
in the United States.
Yo,
It's different.
Our Uber and Lyft drivers in Miami, like 30% of them spoke English. That
Most
was
of them
wild.
Speak Spanish, and
We had a Russian dude that was trying to speak to us in
Portuguese
Spanish
and-
because he didn't speak English.
that was his,
And so
his
we
secondary.
we did like a little in betweener where he just spoke Spanish and we kind of did the best with what we know of Spanish to like respond. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was wild, boy.
And then you have like Tampa, which in my opinion is just like a Denver on the water, kind of, and smaller than Denver, but just like that on the water. And it's got like an adjacent St. Pete is really fun too. It's its own like island and stuff right off the bay on the other side of it. And I've always had really good times down in Tampa. I'd be excited to go to Tampa. I'd be excited to go to Miami. I'd be even excited to go to Gainesville, but I'm not excited to go to Orlando.
I bet Orlando's fun for you this time.
We'll have to see. We'll see. I'll be stuck doing work stuff most of the time. And then outside of that, we'll be doing other non-work stuff with work people. So you understand, Boo. You
Boo feels you for sure.
yeah, she understands my dilemma.
To be honest, I just because you said island and I just remembered it. Oh, she was right. Up until like a week ago, I thought that islands were like a piece of land that was floating, and not that it was just like a small piece of thing that came out of the ground. I thought it was just floating.
Till last week.
About last week, yeah, I saw the tweet about it, and I was like, oh shit, I'm stupid. That makes way more sense.
All right, up until this point, islands were
Floating.
barges. They were just
Yep,
barges,
yep.
like the garbage patch.
See,
That
that's
island.
what, that makes sense. I was like, that's why they called it the garbage island.
Because it's a floating mass. It's pretty awesome.
It's like, how does Hawaii stay?
It's
in
pretty
place? How
awesome
does
you
that
got
work?
away with it for so long.
Well, I'd like to have a talk with your fourth grade teachers.
Can we talk to all of your geography teachers?
Who's your fourth grade homeroom? That didn't by
Geology
fourth
too.
grade see that there was something going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, by fourth grade, you got to know that a motherfucker is not paying attention when he thinks that like Hawaii is not always in the same place.
Or that
It's
they're
in like the general.
tethered. They got a chain below
It's
them.
in like the idea, the area, but it's not always there. You know what I'm saying? You kind of
I
got to
mean,
find
that
it.
would also make
I thought that they stayed in
hurricanes
the
a
same
lot more
place.
fucking scary too.
Oh,
if you were like a
shit.
kid and you're like, those islands do need to be careful in the hurricane
wild.
season. Could just lift up and Cuba be moved over to the other side of the world.
Could you imagine like all of Kauai doing like a tsunami, just riding it all the way to
Just
wherever
becoming
tsunami-
Japan.
Yeah,
just
basically.
slams right into Japan, which is also just another floating giant. And then you're like, wait, are all continents just giant islands floating on the earth?
Well, that's how they get bigger. Duh.
I mean, I knew about Pangea. I knew
That's
about
the
that.
Pangea. You thought there was superficial like pieces of Pangea floating around the world.
Yeah, I don't know what I thought about that. I never thought about too deep like that.
Well, I hope everybody supports Eric in the comments, sharing that they have equally similar goofy thoughts about the Earth and have had realizations about how it actually is when you get older. I'm trying to think if I've had any.
This
of
fucking
those
guy's a real island
recently.
boy.
I don't know, Justin. What's something that you assumed for too long, or thought was the case for too long?
For a really long time, I thought that toallita was the English word for washcloth.
Do I eat that?
Toallita. That's just what we always call it in my house. Got the toallita. Okay.
And what is it?
Washcloth. I don't know what you guys call it in your house, but it took until I was like almost an adult to realize that, like, oh, this is what.
Oh, I see.
Y'all don't have
saying.
toallitas?
You didn't have another word for washcloth.
Yeah, yeah.
That was your word for.
That's what I'm saying. English. I thought it was the English word for washcloth.
Did nobody ever like handed you a washcloth and you're like, huh,
To
this
be
looks
honest,
like a toallita.
how often do you ask for it outside your own house? So
True.
it took me until fucking whenever that was, when whatever reason I needed a washcloth at somebody's house. I was like, hey man, hand me that toallita right there.
And they're like, did you just ask me for a Dorito? No. And you're like, no, a washcloth.
That's the New Mexican in me. Sorry, my parents are from New Mexico.
It's okay. Just
They
keep it
speak
in.
New Mexican Spanish, and man,
Hold it in.
it's apparent.
What do you think of this beer? Did you taste it?
Do you want my honest opinion?
Nope. I want you to lie to everyone listening to the podcast.
This
what you think.
tastes delicious.
Was that the lie or not?
I'm not sure.
You asked for a lie, I gave it to you. Boy, I'm not a fan of clamato. I'm not a fan of tomato juice. I fucking hate tomato juice. I hate the taste of it. I deal with it all the time, and I've never enjoyed it.
Really?
Yeah, my dad loves tomato juice.
Get the fuck out of here with your child palate.
Yeah.
Not liking tomato juice.
I drink anything. What
what
the fuck? To be honest,
That's why it's got the
liking
mango in
tomato
there
juice
for you.
is
It's got the mango in
liking
there.
V8s is a child palate. Go past that.
No way. No way.
I like my beer the way it is. I don't need you to fuck it up with tomatoes.
Put
the
little
fuck?
tomato. You got a little clam in there. Some shellfish.
You want to fuck your beer up with apple juice? Nah, just leave it there.
There's whole beers that are just apple juice.
Yeah, there's no beer in it. It's called a cider. If they made a tomato,
This is much of
a tomato cider, go for it. You know what I'm saying? That way I could avoid that shit.
a tomato cider.
Yeah.
I think we should make.
Yeah, I'm not a Michelada fan. I'm not a Shalala fan. I mean, and I'll drink them. It's drinkable all the time. But in reality, do I like it? Nah. I would have been done with this if it was just an Estrella Jalisco.
Well, I don't think you can get Estrella Jalisco in these big ass cans like this by itself.
Yeah, you can.
Where?
Wherever the fuck they sold this one.
All right, then you
Or
start getting the
Walgreens
fucking
in
beer.
Las Vegas.
Well, all right. Well, we'll have to make a trip for a mobile podcast or something for that because I don't think I have the time to go drive to Vegas to get U.S.
I'm sure they got them in like Tipsy World or one of them big Walmart liquor stores.
the Walmart liquor stores. I don't think they will.
All
I've
right,
only
well,
seen
we'll
these at
see.
a couple of places.
I'll bring them for the next one.
All right. I do like that beer, but I like this beer. I think it does a good job. Sweet, sour, salty. It's all the things, and especially for like
It'd be cool if it didn't taste like tomato.
the Michelada like cans that are like this from all the different beer companies, Bud Light, all of them. I think this is the best one I've had.
I mean, it's got good flavor if it didn't taste like tomato. Like, literally take out the tomato and leave everything else. I'm with it.
I like the tomato. And the mango. You don't like the mango in there? Mm-hmm. That's the only
cool.
part you like.
You know, I like the beer part
Little
too.
spiciness.
I like the spice.
Golly.
I just don't like. I like the fucking clam. Isn't there fucking clam juice in Clamato? I like the clam, B.
You do?
Hell yeah. Put some of that shit in my next beer. Just leave the tomato out. The atto. You know what I'm saying? Put the clam sin atto. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Sinato.
Well, what am I mean,
What
Am
is
I gonna
tomato
lie?
in Spanish? Just tomato? It is
Tomate.
tomate. Huh. Well, I still think you have a child palate, and tomato juice is fucking bomb.
nah. No. You're the one that we have to worry about what's on the menu before we get there. That's what you do with children.
You don't gotta worry about me.
Hell yeah.
No. I mean, the only time you might have to is if you're going to a fast food restaurant.
If we're going to a Mexican restaurant,
No worries there.
come on. Pork is in every single green chili, but you ask every time.
It's not in every single green chili. I know
Yes, the
plenty of
fuck it
places.
is, bud.
I know plenty of places that
They
don't
just
have
tell
pork
you
in
it's
their green
not
chili.
there.
Or they have two.
Do they really?
Like
Places have 2 green chilies?
there's all kinds of places that do two.
Where?
What's it called? What's the one I go to here almost every fucking week, right off of like 26th and Elliott. What's Arujos is the name of it. They have a hot chili, mild, and a vegetarian. They do 3.
That's wild.
Is it not hot then, or is it just?
The vegetarian,
Yeah.
it's like spiced at the mild level.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they're not gonna make. I don't think they would want to make 4, but yeah, they do that, and their breakfast burritos are great. There's a place called El Jefe that has a place in Pueblo. There's one up north by me, and then
Never heard of it.
there's one down I think this way, and they have vegetarian green chili as well. They don't use pork in theirs. Or not vegetarian, but they don't use pork in theirs. Which sometimes, like those places that don't do a pork one, they'll do they'll do a chili without pork, but it'll have like chicken.
This is all, again, how you can call me child palate. And you have to know all these things about where you can eat and where you can have green chili or whatever. Your boy just eat how they give it. What you got?
And then he pushes it away and he goes, "Too many tomatoes.
I didn't push nothing
There's
away.
too
I'm
many
drinking it.
tomatoes."
I'm drinking it. That's how you know I don't have a child palate. I'm drinking it. I'm just telling you what I honestly feel. No matter how much tomato juice I drink, it doesn't start tasting good ever. It tastes like fucking
Tomatoes.
nonsense.
It tastes
No,
like
it does not taste
tomatoes.
like tomatoes at all. Tomatoes taste way bomber than tomato juice. Tomato juice tastes like tomato crack.
Tomato,
They took all the worst parts of the tomato and then just concentrated that bitch. It's whack. I fuck with tomato sauce heavy. Who don't love spaghetti?
You like tomato sauce?
Yeah. I don't like tomato juice. It don't taste the same at all. That's like saying that applesauce and apple juice taste the same. It's like blasphemy. They're not even the same process, not the same flavor at all. Tomato juice
Definitely the same
tastes
flavor.
like
Definitely the same flavor.
Dude, not the same flavor at all. What are you
Apple
talking
juice
about?
and applesauce.
Have entirely different flavors.
I mean, if you were eating applesauce or apple juice that's like sweetened or has other shit.
Well, that's
in
how it comes. But who the fuck has ever squeezed an apple?
I've made applesauce plenty of times.
I'm talking about apple juice, boy.
Yeah.
Apple juice does not taste like apples. It doesn't taste like an apple. It doesn't
What
taste
are
like
you talking
applesauce.
about,
It
apple
tastes
juice?
like apple juice. The fuck you mean?
No, like super sweet apple juice tastes like I think what you're talking about, but it just squeezed apples taste just like fucking apples.
Nobody's ever squeezed an apple.
Plenty
You
of
liar.
people squeeze apples. That's how you get cider.
No,
the
you
first part
don't.
is to squeeze the apples as hard as possible. Squish the apples
It's terrible.
through a juicer.
Why do you think they don't have like big barrels of apples and have people walk on them like they do with grapes?
Because I don't think you can smash apples like that. You could probably stand on a like bushel of apples and it wouldn't do anything. It would just be.
Probably because wherever they grow apples,
People don't have feet.
people aren't fucking gross. People aren't like, why the fuck would we walk on our apples?
Either you
The
have
fuck?
feet or you live somewhere.
That's
that
what we
have-
do with shit we don't want.
Except for the like Italian and French. They're like, no,
Yeah,
no,
no, they're like, no, fuck it.
Step on the grapes.
Gross.
What?
It's
Stepping
pretty
on
gross,
grapes?
dude. Not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it gets cooked. Well, not really after that.
I mean, people. That
don't
means
really need to
people's
cook it.
skin, like the skin falling off their foot gets cooked. Mm-hmm. The shit they
That's the
walked in
terroir.
before they got there, boy. Ugh.
That's exactly what you're paying for in fancy bottles of wine.
Oh, that's why I don't pay for fancy bottles of wine.
Yeah, because you have a child palate. You
You're
wouldn't
like,
even like
this
the
one
taste of
tastes like foot.
the foot fermented foot cells anyway.
This one tastes like foot.
There's a
And
definitely a little.
I'll take my wine.
Can tell.
Seen foot, please. Thank you.
seen foot, seen PA's weight.
You know what I'm saying? she's like, let's stop talking about feet, boy. Let's talk about something else. Kanye West. Did you watch? No? All right. You?
No, what do you do?
No, I guess we won't want to talk about Kanye
Well,
West.
you can
then.
tell us all about it.
He had like the fucking interview of the year.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
It
Interview
released
of
last
the
week,
year.
and then like 2 nights ago was part 2.
I didn't even see any memes of it. So
Oh man,
Who did he? Who was he interviewed?
he was on Drink Champs.
Oh,
What do you mean? Oh, fucking Drink Champs. Drink Champs is not only one of the #1 podcasts in the world. It is the epitome of the hip hop I've always loved, continuing on into the present.
sure. That was not anything against Drink Champs. I like
Wow,
the podcast too.
That's not what it felt like.
I know, but that's
Felt
just
like
because
you was against my homie Nori.
you're just taking it
About to
personal for
catch these
somebody
hands,
else.
boy.
I said that because I thought I like missed like 60 minutes doing an interview with him, something that I would have like
No,
definitely not missed. But
Why
I
the
missed
fuck?
that.
60 Minutes doesn't do good interviews. They're trash. Drink Champs, let him talk.
Okay,
And he said the real shit, boy. Whether it's real or not, it's the real. It's real to him, and that's what you want to hear. You don't want to hear fucking the way people frame shit. You want to hear what do you really think, whether it's what I think or not. What do you think?
so
And when boy goes off on what he thinks.
was it controversial? Why was it interesting?
Oh yeah, it was all kinds of controversial. Pretty dope too. To be honest, kind of inspiring. But again, I don't want to go into a bunch of detail. You ever watched it?
Well, sounds like it's worth a watch. I think I did see some stuff with like quotes and things around that. The last thing I saw about Kanye was Twitter saying that Rick Rubin red pilled him is into like a Trump supporter.
No, he even talks about that. He says that he is still with Trump in the interview. And he says entirely it's because the Democrats don't do anything. So they won't vote Democrat until they do something that they say they're going to do.
Gosh, that's sad.
Is he lying? Is that sad? Is that really sad? Or is that just not what you want? So it's like, oh, sad to me.
Why do you think it's sad to me?
No, I'm asking you.
Well,
So I don't think it's sad at all.
Well, I think it is sad because I 100% agree with the reasoning of being like the Democrats don't do shit, so fuck them. Mm-hmm. But then to then be like, well, so that means I'm going to be a Republican.
No, I don't think that's what he's saying.
But you're also then going to that side and saying, you can also go to any other political party and then point at the Democrats and say that shit, right? It doesn't have to be the GOP, but they chose it to be the GOP and the
No, I think in his experience that when he tried to like talk to the Democrats, they didn't want to hear him. They didn't want nothing to do with him. They were all like, you're too controversial. And so then he tried to talk to the Republicans and Trump was like, well, come on in. That doesn't sound like somebody that doesn't sound sad at all. That, if anything, that sounds like the Democrats are a bunch of assholes. If they would have been more welcoming and more understanding and maybe hearing, listening, I mean, go for it. But they only like it when he says the stuff they loved it when he said that
George Bush
like black people.
Yeah.
They did though, you know.
Well, yeah.
And he even mentions that he's like NBC only let that through because at the time it was going against their guy or the guy they're against. He's like, it was the liberal media being cool with me saying some shit like that. If it was the other way around, they would have canceled me then. They would have cut me off. He's like, but they let that shit go because it was against the guy that the media was against. And I'm like, man, you know what? While, I mean, media bias has always been apparent, it's like, it's only gotten like extreme since 9/11. And I don't know, man. It makes you think how much of the Democrat shit that they spit is just nonsense. And then supported by the media, so we take it in as if that's what they really mean.
I just don't.
But they
see
don't
much
actually
of a
mean any of
distinction.
that shit.
I don't see any distinction between what the Democrats do in that regard, which is true, and the way that the Republicans do the same thing.
Because the media is mostly liberal, right? That's why you ended up with the Fox News. Fox News wouldn't exist if the other four networks weren't acting so biased. And then, of course, you end up with extremes. So then you end up with, Fox News and then MSNBC, and they're like on extreme sides.
And like Breitbart and
Yeah. And Rachel Maddow. Like, you know what I mean? Both wrong, both being spitting propaganda, both using talking points to spread their propaganda and make money off of it. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's extremes. But you wouldn't have that if these fucking guys weren't starting that way and didn't create a void in the first place. If all of the media starts to lean left, it doesn't mean that the country is leaning left. It just means the media is. So then you're creating a void that will be filled by Breitbarts and fucking
Steve Bannon, just in general. He fills up all that shit.
No, exactly though. And then you get the extremes. And in that, I mean, if you're famous and you are now allowed behind those screens. Now, he's been talking about this kind of shit forever.
Who's he?
Kanye.
Okay.
And now you're allowed behind those screens. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then you see the way that they treat you. You see the way that they pay people off. You see all of that. You know what I mean? And so he's like, fuck y'all.
I'm going to go to the people who hate you and you hate. I'm going to go over to them. Because they're welcoming to me.
No, but that's the fucked up part about the political rhetoric. Those people don't hate anyone like that. Conservatives don't hate Kanye West or hate black people or whatever. What they are is naive to the understanding of what minorities go through. So a lot of the shit they choose or feel like they choose comes off in a way where this other side can paint it as racist. And then On this side, you get this idea that everyone on that side must be racist. If they fuck with Trump, they must be racist. Trump must be racist. Well, how come Biden is racist for the exact same thing we call Trump racist for?
He is.
But nobody would be mad at Kanye West for talking to Biden. You see how that painting is goofy? And all it does is it doesn't create anyone. No one on the conservative side goes, huh, you're right, this policy may be a little racist. You're calling them racist before, they're not going to fucking, nobody's going to say, oh yeah, I'm being racist after you called me that and I have literally no racial intent on my ideas. All they're going to do is double down on that. And you create this big gap between this nonsense. And it doesn't work that way, man. You can't say that Kanye West went to the guy who doesn't like them. Why didn't he like him? He seemed to like Kanye fine. He also seemed to like Ice Cube.
Who? Trump?
Trump.
You just get real fast and loose with your pronouns, but lots of heat.
Maybe.
Different people.
Well, I'm talking about a lot of things at once.
Yeah, I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I mean...
You don't buy what?
So it's one thing to like live your mindset in the sense of a liberal Democrat, what you're talking about, right? With the way that those, like that base operates, that those political elites operate, the DNC especially, like the Democratic National Convention, the group that makes the decisions for the party, right? Garbage. Same with the GOP, which runs all of the Republican shit and conservative shit. And so if you just take your mindset and go, gosh, fuck the Democrats, and plop it just into the same shit that's a different color, it just doesn't seem like anything fucking special or even interesting to me, because there's so many other ways to then just step out of those and be like, oh, they're both just garbage and they're doing the same thing. All like media, one way or the other, whether it's Facebook or TV ads or YouTube ads, there's going to be all this political bias and bullshit identity politics happening where he's doing identity politics between the two things. Because honestly, if you do get to see behind the veil, like you were saying, you would step back and go, no, to those two places, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, you look behind the veil of either of those, you would have to say no. But to choose one over the other and then pit them against each other, it's just like, cool, more politics.
Would it feel that way though? Imagine if you're broke. And so the whole time you thought Democrats were on your side. Mm-hmm. And then you make some money and you try to help change and they don't fuck with you. Mm-hmm. But because you have money, now the Republicans fuck with you. Mm-hmm. So now, in your experience, the people who you thought give a fuck about you don't, and the people who you thought don't give a fuck about you do. How does that not make sense? Like, why is that just because it's like, I realize from our perspective, sure. From our perspective, everything the Republicans do in like passing laws helps people with our amount of money, right? It fucks with people like us. So we don't like that. Now imagine you have way more money and now you're taking advantage of those things and they embrace you with open arms.
Right.
Is that really so hard to believe that somebody may turn around and go, man, these fools are actually pretty tight?
Well, if you want to just look at being what a terrible term, but fiscal Republican, you can still be like, fuck the GOP, but I am a conservative Republican voter.
But why do you have to say fuck anybody? Why does you don't say fuck the Democrats, even though the Democrats are on some bullshit?
What do you mean I don't say fuck the Democrats? I'm pretty sure that's been recorded over a dozen times from my mouth on this podcast, saying fuck the Democrats.
Maybe 3 times.
I think I have a clip.
I think it's
That's it. That wasn't the right one.
It's right there, Eric. Come on.
There we go. There we go.
I mean, I do all the time. I would say I'm pretty even keel on my distaste for both the GOP and the DNC as a whole on each of them, and including many of their members, most of their members, if not all of their members, because they aren't in the interest of any of the people that I know or that have similar lives as mine and my families and my friends and their families. And
yeah, but they're also the ones in charge, so that's the only way to make actual change. is to cooperate with those people in some way.
Yeah, I mean,
Now, if you're somebody who's
That's-
really good at making money and
think-
you've learned that you have to compromise with motherfuckers to get there.
that sounds like some bullshit that they say to tell people to
No, I'm talking about in
stay
reality.
the
Look, I know
lanes.
that when I
Sure,
don't follow
no, but you
their...
can paint that reality, Justin, and you can gaslight
man.
out people and
Stop
say,
saying gaslight. I'm not gaslighting no one. I'm talking about my own opinion. If that gaslights any topic or is that
you're
gaslight
saying
for anything...
this is how the world
So what?
works.
That's saying something is being gaslit is like this fucking cop out for not allowing somebody else just have an opinion. I can have an opinion about it without it meaning some kind of malicious
What
thing
does
that I'm
gaslight
doing
mean
to
then?
someone else.
What does gaslight mean? Do you know where that term comes from? You want to know the story where the term
Go ahead.
gaslight comes
I mean,
from?
you're gonna tell me, so go ahead. I'd love to hear it.
So I don't remember the name of the story or the movie, but it's based on like a black and white movie that this man every night before like his wife like comes out, he comes and he turns the gas down and all the lamps. So it's dim. And wife comes in and she goes, "Gosh, honey, isn't it dim in here? It's dim." And he's like, "No, it's not. Lighting's fucking perfect." And this continues and continues to the point where he keeps doing it and it drives her like insane or crazy. And she keeps thinking that these things are happening. And he keeps telling her, "No, that's not happening. You're crazy. That's not how it is. That's not what the world is like. It's not happening." But he is the one turning the gas down and telling her that that's not happening. Right.
Yeah.
So the term gaslighting, right, comes from, it's when somebody is trying to paint a picture of the situation, right? Whether it's their opinion or not, they're painting a picture of the situation and saying, "You're wrong." So you're saying that I'm wrong. That's not how it works, because the two things that are in line, Democrats and Republicans, that's how the world works. You literally fucking said that. That's how things get done. They're in charge. Gaslighting is telling me that when I'm saying that's what they're fucking trying to make you believe, when we're trying to encourage people to break out of those two parties, that just because they have the power now doesn't mean that they have to have the power. But if we continue to think, oh, we have to just vote for one of them because those parties have the power, and then you sit there and tell me that that's the fucking case, when the true case is that if people all had their choices and got rid of those two parties, we'd have a much, much better system if there were some different parties available even. But if we always
So
think
you're
that we
saying
have to
that
stay in
me
those lanes,
telling you another perspective based entirely off of the facts that I could see, that's the same thing as turning the fucking lights down and telling you that they're not down. Get the bloody fuck out of here. I'm allowed to see some shit from this side. If there's a fucking tree right there, there's 360 degrees of perspective. If somebody on that fucking side of the tree tells me there's a squirrel on the tree, just because I can't see the squirrel doesn't mean there's not a squirrel on the tree. But for me to tell them I don't see a squirrel is not gaslighting that they fucking see one and I don't.
it's saying that squirrels
from
don't
my
exist.
perspective, this is no. I'm not saying it doesn't exist at all. All I was telling you is that by a person being a human being wanting to accomplish things, when you follow the rules within that particular structured game, you get higher than you do if you stand on the outside and complain about how the game goes. Now, I realize that if we all stood outside the game and said we don't want to play no more, that it doesn't work that way. But that's ridiculous to tell me that Kanye making his way up the ranks of like eliteness and trying to be a political elite in some way, it's like he would follow the structure of the game to do it, and then at some point just decide that, oh, this is not the way to do it. That makes total sense. If these are the political parties that he sees the opportunity to continue going forward, that's what he chooses, regardless if it's possible that everyone just decide not to. So how the fuck is me telling you why he's doing that gaslighting?
Overall, you're telling me that that's the only way that he could go.
No, I'm telling you that makes sense to me. And I'm telling you to have a response to that, and your response is me gaslighting you because I'm telling you that's the only way. Who the fuck says that's the only way? I don't fucking know Kanye. I don't know what he does.
I mean,
It's not gaslighting.
consistently you say that's how the world works, or
No.
that's how this game works. Even if you want to just define your own rules for the fucking game or whatever it is, it just all seems kind of fucking stupid.
No, it's called an opinion. You have an opinion of how it works. You're literally disagreeing with me. You disagreeing with me is not you gaslighting my opinion.
And I'm not, how am I disagreeing with you?
Because you're telling me that's not the only way. And I'm telling you that's the most logical way to me.
Wait, so now these are not even like congruent statements. Not the only way and the most logical way. Those are two different
Well,
statements.
I'm telling you from my
even on the
perspective
same
what I
page
see.
there.
And before I could even get out my perspective, because it disagrees with you, you say it's gaslighting, and that's a cop out, and that's some weak ass, sensitive ass shit to try to get out of a fucking argument when someone don't agree with you.
I mean, Justin, I'm
that's
not the one
gaslighting.
fucking.
What is this?
I'm not the one over here fucking screaming
Come
and getting real
on, man.
upset right now because I use a term that you don't like. Because you don't like being
no,
told
because
that
it's
you were.
malicious. It's a cop out to get out of the fucking argument.
It's not.
Whack.
It's
That's
not
whack.
because I told you that you're
That's
trying
whack.
to tell me that the system in the game works a certain way, and it's your opinion. And I'm telling
you that
you,
it could work this way, and am I wrong?
I mean, are you wrong that the world works in a way that if you have a ton of money and you put
That if
your
you play
effort
the
into
game, you'll
politics,
get
you'll
farther.
probably move up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like the American
Okay, so
politics
why
game.
the fuck would we assume? And if that's the game everyone plays, just because you see another possibility, why the fuck would we assume he does?
Why are you assuming he doesn't? And he still chose
I'm
that?
not. I watched the interview
are.
and he talks about all this shit. You're the one assuming I'm gaslighting.
I don't know, man.
You're gaslighting.
I'm
You're
gaslighting
telling me
you?
what I fucking mean. And I'm like, I don't mean none of that. I'm giving you another perspective. I'm arguing with you about this particular thing.
You
We're
don't
allowed to
argue it as a perspective,
we're
first of all.
allowed to
You
disagree.
argue as
It's
an
not
absolute.
gaslighting. That's some fucking baby shit. You want to talk about child's palate? Fucking telling someone they're gaslighting you without just arguing back is a child's palate.
Well, a lot of those things, like gaslighting, are fallacies, right? So arguing against a fallacy is a pretty stupid thing to do because you end up always losing because it gets into a vicious circle of the logic not following or figuring itself out because the
Is that how
argument
you
is
avoid
a
other
fallacy.
perspectives? You call it a fallacy, and you say, "Oh, that's
No, fallacies are logical
what somebody
fallacies,
else
Justin.
sees. What
Like,
somebody else
logically.
sees is not what I see, and therefore it must be a fallacy."
So if you're talking about we're having an argument, arguments would be based in logic, and fallacies are statements that seem
Arguments
true.
aren't always based on logic. Sometimes they're based on fucking nuance. Sometimes they're based on context. Sometimes they're based in fucking anything. Like the idea that it's just logic. Sometimes it's rationale. It's not always logic. Fuck you mean that arguments are based on logic? That's whack.
Well, arguments are one in logic then, because
That's not always true either.
I mean, you can win an argument in emotion, but did you win the argument, or did you just like berate somebody emotionally until they stopped arguing
What the
with
fuck
you?
does that have to do with what we're talking about?
I'm giving
And
just-
isn't that what gaslighting is?
No. I think we went over gaslighting. Berating somebody would be like, that's fucking stupid. That's stupid. No, that's gaslighting.
That seems a lot more
That is
equivalent to
gaslighting.
fucking turning the gas lights down and telling me that they're
Berating somebody is like
and then whatever
saying,
the fuck I did to you. I'll tell you that much.
Fucking A, bud. Calm down.
No,
I'm not.
Don't tell me I'm gaslighting, but I'll tell you right now that's a bullshit. And if you ever say that shit to me again, you're gonna get caught again on this. That's bullshit. And that's a whack ass cop out. And you'll have no argument other than, oh, you're telling me that that's the only way. No, it's not what I said at all. Now what?
Well, okay. So I'm gonna.
That's a way.
Okay, so you're saying that's a way that
And
it
as
is
somebody who's successful and has done it before, makes total sense. Why wouldn't that be the way they take?
right. And so what I was talking about when I said the gaslighting thing was not specific to like a path at all up to that, like to fame.
Well, that's what I was talking
to-
about. So don't say I was gaslighting if you don't even know what I was saying.
And what we were talking about at the time of when I mentioned the gaslighting was more around like political, like alignments, right? And then you telling me that there was those two ranges that's where success happens. And that's where it's most obvious that success happens. And so that's why it shouldn't even be a fucking thing. Shouldn't make me sad. Shouldn't make me sad because that's where we started that. He doesn't
I didn't
get
say
out
shit,
of there.
nothing. I was asking you why it was sad.
No, but that's what you're arguing. So the gaslighting part was not about Kanye's rise or choice even there of using that as a ladder, right? Because that's what you're talking about, a ladder in this game of moving up in a way and saying, I'm okay with now that, like you said before, they liked him now because he has the money. And if you're okay with that's why the people now like you and you want to join them, that is absolutely his prerogative if he sees that that's a way to go up to success.
I don't know if it is or not. I'm just saying, what if?
But then saying when you coming at me and saying like, no, this is the way to go. That's what I said was gaslighting. My argument of saying, no, this is the way to go because this is the way that we see most people have success. Most people that get portrayed in our media, we see the success of them being in one of those two windows because you look at socialists.
How the fuck what I said had anything to do
people
with turning some shit down on you and telling you it's not?
Well, you don't have to be the one turning something down.
You're saying that I maliciously see that that's not actually that, but I'm telling you it is anyways. And that's not what I'm saying at all.
You damn well know that it's not that way, that there aren't just people
damn well
in
know
there.
anything? I'm not fucking Kanye. Kanye damn well knows.
So stop jumping between the two arguments. We're not talking about Kanye specifically. We're talking about the roads of the political alignments.
I've only been talking about Kanye this whole time. If you're not talking about Kanye, we're not talking about the same thing.
Fucking A. So now I don't even know what the fuck you're doing with this argument. You're jumping around way too much for me to fucking try and.
How the fuck am I jumping around?
Because we were talking about other like aligned things, and now you're like, I'm only talking about Kanye because I don't know if you're upset
talking about
still
Kanye
about gaslights, and yeah, we started with Kanye, and then we started. I was making comments about why I was sad, and then politics and alignment. I don't know why I don't want to review this again. I felt like I just fucking said this review of what we were talking about, and you're still yelling at me about Kanye. So fine, fuck gaslighting. That's what you can agree with. I know that. And Kanye West is gonna still run for president in 2024.
Gaslighting. I don't give a fuck if somebody tells me that the lights aren't down. If they're down, I know it. I don't need somebody else's opinion. And if their opinion, if they want to tell me that the fucking lights keep going down, they want to tell me a lie about some shit, fine. Go ahead. I'm not putting that much fucking stake into your opinion anyways. So you can't gaslight me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about gaslighting. What I don't like is telling somebody else that they're gaslighting when they're trying to project a different perspective.
Sure. So if it was a different fallacy, if I said, Justin, that's a red herring, and you were like, oh, would you still respond?
What I'm saying was a fallacy, and I'm telling you, it's totally. Not only have you admitted multiple times, but what I said is the most logical way. You want to talk about logic? The most logical way to get to the top is to do it the way all fucking 9,000 other people got there. You're telling me that the only other way is to do what nobody else has ever done before. Not in this fucking society.
See?
And that you're telling me in this society, you're telling me in this society that the elites have not been running it?
Let me just turn that down.
Since goddamn 1700 and fucking 72?
Right. Let me just turn it down a little bit more.
Oh, boy.
It's been done like that since 1976. Yeah, it's been done like that. So yeah, I guess.
All right,
gaslight. No, your argument must be right, Justin. It's been like that since 1776 in this country. So that must be the only way.
No, that's my perspective. And I'm no one saying it's the only way. That's my perspective. You could have your own. Who the fuck said it was the only way? Quit with that only way bullshit. That sounds like some baby ass shit. No one even fucking hears it. And then you go, oh, but you're hurting my feelings. No one's even fucking saying that. I'm just telling you what I think. No one fucking said it's the only way. Who the fuck said that once besides you 9 times?
All right.
Who's gaslighting?
Let's pull up a clip of that.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Did you hear it?
That was a motherfucking beat lit by gas.
Whew. Fallacies are hard. People get mad. You got mad. I mean, the thing is...
I'm mad because you're telling me what I believe is a fallacy.
Sure, but that's part
You're telling me what I believe is a fallacy, and I'm supposed to just be cool with it because you said gaslighting.
That's not what accusing
That's exactly what the fuck is going on right now.
No, is that...
Yes, the fuck it is. If you turn the light down on someone, but you tell someone you didn't, that is a fallacy. You're telling me this whole time that fallacies are hard. People get upset. What the fuck was I upset about until you told me that my perspective was a fallacy, even though twice you admitted that that was the way that it's always been done? Like, what the fuck?
All right. I was going to say this before. I don't know. I stopped listening to you at the last little bit of that rant. But if you're going to argue against the fallacy, if you're going to get mad, if you're going to get mad at somebody telling you that you're using a fallacy as your argument, and then you come at me and say that's a cop-out for your argument, instead of arguing against, which you eventually did.
My argument a fallacy.
Fuck, man, stop interrupting. Stop interrupting. Right? Gaslighting is a fallacy, right? That is one of...
Well, that's an accusation of what I guess.
There's a bunch of different fallacies, red herrings, shifting goalposts. They all have fancy little names or a different name or a Latin name of these different fallacies, and they describe how they work or how they can be heard in different arguments. And so, yes, I said that you were gaslighting my argument, and then you fucking said that's a way to get out of an argument. And then you did eventually actually argue why you were not. You know, that you said that you're not gaslighting, that you're just trying to share your perspective and your...
Well, that's what I was doing from the beginning until you told me I was gaslighting. And you go, how the fuck you know what I was thinking?
Because you're saying things...
That's gaslighting, Phil. You're telling me that what I was thinking isn't real.
What?
Because when I tell you
Justin,
that it was my perspective this whole time, you're telling
what you're saying out loud, right?
Then
and
why the fuck have you told me like 4 or 5 fucking times that that's the only way it could be? You're saying this, and that must be the only way it could be. How many fucking times have you said that with that weird ass attitude, boy? I don't like that shit. I never said that shit, and I don't like being lied on.
You never said what?
That it was the only way it could be. I'm just sharing a perspective. But what if blank? But what if means check out this other side of the tree?
All right. So we'll have to go back to the tape later and listen. But fucking A, Justin, calm down. Get your clamato in you.
Don't call me a liar, boy. Don't tell me what I'm telling you is a fallacy, and don't tell me that you knew that I wasn't saying this before, and then later on I explained this, and that's when I meant it then or something, but I didn't mean it before when I was saying it originally. Man, that is such a cop-out. Like, we're not even arguing about that anymore. Now we're arguing about if what I'm saying is a lie or not. And that's such a cop-out to get out of your own argument that you didn't even have to argue no more. All right, cool. I don't have to actually argue this part. You're gaslighting. Why? Because I disagree? Trash.
No, I don't. Gosh, it didn't feel like that to me on my side of things. You yelled a lot there, and I definitely feel like you took some of the things that I was saying very, I don't know.
You called what I was saying a fallacy.
So, also,
I never called what you were saying a fallacy. I just said, but what if
you can't be a fallacy? You can't be a fallacy, right?
I said what I said.
An argument can be a fallacy. An argument, right? Saying like, here's these things that I believe and that I'm going to prescribe to this. These are my things that I'm going to put out here. I argue
sarcastically all the time. We do it where I'm just fucking with you. I wasn't just fucking with you. I was telling you an actual opinion.
And then
what about that as a fallacy?
And then, do we really have to go through this again? I really don't want to do this anymore.
All right, then don't do it no more.
All right. I don't want to go through about the same conversation that I've talked about.
Cool. What about
3
Travis
times.
Scott?
Travis Scott? Mm-hmm. He had that concert. Mm-hmm. And people died there.
People died there.
I don't know a ton about the story. I heard Astroworld. It was in Houston. I did see the story that the cops said that somebody was running around and stabbed a person with some fentanyl, and that's what happened. They're investigating that in Houston Police Department. They're not? No. Why not?
Because one guy said that, probably look for attention. No real evidence about it like that besides this dude saying he had a prick in the neck. And the cops went on TV with that right away. Probably because if they didn't, then it would look like the cops' fault. Like, why the fuck were there so many people there? Where was the security? Why weren't motherfuckers around? Why the fuck was the health tent and the medical tent filled up fucking an hour before any of this shit was even going on? Like, it was just a shit show. And it's totally the venue and the security's fault.
Live Nation.
Well, whoever's in charge, because sometimes that's just the promoter, right? It's like whoever signed the bill and got paid, it was like, yeah, we'll secure the area. We'll set up the medical tent. We'll have it down, you know? They didn't. And so people want to be mad at Travis Scott and shit like that. That fool's on stage. Like, he was looking at shit happen. I know. Motherfuckers pass out at festivals all the time. You know who's say crazy stuff about festivals? Is motherfuckers who's never been to one. You ever been to a festival? They got a medical tent filled with white girls fucking drinking water because they had too much Molly. I say white because I was at a rave. But in any case, that's how music festivals go. Can't control everyone. That's security's job.
Isn't Travis Scott satanic though?
I don't know.
That's what the media told me.
They do be saying stuff like that.
And his Happy Meals, they are not.
They took him off Fortnite.
He was on Fortnite?
Yeah, he did a show on Fortnite. He had like a skin, all kinds of stuff, and they took all of his shit off the.
Because of what happened at the concert?
Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird? Bitch, this is a game about shooting people.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like there was a lot of attention around that shit, around a lot of the wrong things.
Well, people haven't died at a show like that for a while. People get hurt at shows like that all the time. But it's like it doesn't make news. But there hasn't been like a mass casualty event, you know, for a decade or two. And so, you know.
I don't know. I feel like festivals, that probably happens all the time. Like the big festivals, like
yeah, but not
the hippie
like,
ones, there's so much drugs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But, so it'll happen in that way, but not like 9 people in one crowd that died of a crowd surge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then people died, you know, getting trampled on and suffocating and asphyxiation, you know?
Yep. Yep. Do you think the artist has any responsibility in, like, you know,
No.
seeing how the crowd is doing?
No.
No?
I mean, it's cool when they can. I've seen people share a video of a million places where they can. You know what I mean? You know, it's like Adele telling someone or, you know, whatever going on. But I'm like, I'm sure there's 10 million other situations where somebody was passed out right there and no one saw. Like, it's just, the crowd's dark. You're on stage. Your fucking lights are on you. When you look out into the crowd, you can see about the first 5 rows. Everyone after that becomes a black blur. You know what I mean? All in the darkness. And it's like, man, I mean, and especially if you're like, you almost got to go into character to perform. When you're in character, you're doing this thing, you know what I mean? Like, and you're used to doing it at festivals. You're used to an ambulance going through the crowd. You know? It's like they have ambulances at those festivals all the time. And they're always tending on someone. You know, it's not your fault. It'd be like, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. Like, I've performed many times. And, you know, if I say jump, I've said it before on this song, let's jump, and you get the whole crowd jumping. If someone falls and gets jumped on, is that my fault that I told everyone to jump? Like, that seems whack. I'm like, I was telling you to have a good time. I didn't say fucking uncoordinated ass fall and get stepped on.
Gets
My fault. You know what I'm saying? Watch your shoes in my show, okay? Shit, watch out.
Yeah.
He had to drop "Get Stepped On" off of a couple songs. That lyric was not mentioned that night. What do you think about the fact that like he's done it before where he's like told people to like rush the stage and all that type of stuff. Like, does that like
Fools do that all the time. Now he may be known really well for it right now, but that's rock star shit. Fucking Kiss used to do that shit. Like, it's what you do. You get everyone all excited. Again, it's the fucking security that's supposed to keep everybody from fucking packing in on the ground. And they said, these fools said that they were in positions where, like, if you jumped, you'd stay in the air. That's how packed it was. Whose fault? That's fucking Travis Scott's fault. He's on stage. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, how could it be?
Of course people are going to run to him. Like, they're there to see him. It's called Astro World. It's his music festival.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I'm not trying to argue with you.
No. I know you're not arguing. I'm talking about people who were like, oh man, and Travis Scott. I'm like, look, dude, I get it. You know what I mean? You share a million videos of why he should have been paying attention. People were trying to tell him to stop. You know how many fuck crazy people there are at shows all the time? Y'all just ain't never been to a festival or had to perform. People are fucking crazy, and they'll do anything for attention. It's like it's just what people do, especially around other people. They act crazier.
Yeah,
it's what people do. It's security's job to make sure motherfuckers don't actually rush the fucking the fucking ticket
that
spot.
There's enough,
you know what I mean?
Room for people and not selling too many tickets for how many people could actually fit in there.
There's enough security
or not letting
for
people
how many
sneak
people are going to be there.
Because I guarantee not everybody who is in there when it's that packed, people sneak in. It's festivals.
Yeah, and then
like
how
they
many,
get in there and it's
for
way
how many
overrun
thousand
and,
do
like,
we need this many medical people?
Yep.
A
And it
medical
just-
tent. You know what I mean? And that's why I think that's why the cops came out and said all that shit about the needle.
Well,
to
they
be
were
honest,
just-
everybody would if
just
not,
being
they would have
cops.
been like, yo, what the fuck? Cops were hired to be there. Y'all were there. And you know,
I mean, they fucked up. They fucked up on so many levels, and they want to make it about different things that are easier and easier to divide people with, and because it's hard to divide people against like security failing, right? It's hard to like pull a story out of something and really get people's juices flowing and just but when you start saying like all the shit about controversial artist already in some people's minds, right? Like some people think like he is literally the Antichrist, and is performing.
somebody chose a new one every generation.
And it's a fun story for everybody to tell on each network, opposed to we need to have some serious changes about Live Nation. And the worst part about all this is, just to move on to another point, is that now all of our fucking tickets are going to be probably even more expensive because insurance is going to go up for all these fucking venues across the United States, especially for fucking, it won't be at Taylor Swift shows, but it definitely will be at all the fucking hip hop shows. Watch all of our tickets that we go to, all the shows that we go to, go boop, 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 because of insurance at hip hop shows. That shit's going to fucking suck. But I guarantee it's not going to be happening at Tay-Tay shows or what are those other fancy...
To be fair, Taylor Swift...
6 people
probably-
died at the last Taylor Swift concert.
No. To be honest, probably already like $1.50 a ticket. So,
yeah.
I mean, if those went up,
Sure.
it would already be whatever. Like the people who go to that are very dedicated.
They'll pay whatever.
That's like a Bad Bunny ticket, boy. You can't just go to the show. You know what I'm saying? You see Bad Bunny tickets
They're
selling
like
for like fucking
$600.
some stupid amount.
Yeah,
So selling out and shit too.
one of our agents
Right, man.
did a giveaway with Bad Bunny tickets,
Fuck yeah.
which is a great idea at first, you would
Yeah.
think. And then you go, wait a minute. Who's applying for these? Who wants free Bad Bunny tickets?
Oh yeah.
Not quite the people that you're looking for to do business with in the business that we do right away, right? And so
That's racist.
he spent a ton. No. This has nothing to do. There's no race involved here. He spent a ton of money on, if anything, this is ageist because he got a bunch of people that were like 18 that applied, and
Yeah.
18 that didn't have. They're also not buying their own Bad Bunny tickets at fucking 18, so they're applying for free ones, which probably means they can't buy a house anytime soon. And that's what I mean. Nothing about. I didn't even think that. I don't even know what Bad Bunny music really sounds like, to be honest. So I don't know.
It's in Spanish.
Oh, it is? I did not know that. I knew it's like reggaeton-ish.
That's what I was like.
I know it's
Boy,
reggaeton-ish. I didn't know if it was reggaeton like adjacent or like true form reggaeton. And yeah, I don't.
You got something for us, Eric?
Yeah, hit me with some Bad Bunny. Give me some quintessential Bad Bunny.
Oh, that's a great question. If Spotify installing wasn't happening right now, unfortunately, that might be what we have to roll out of the episode with. I'll make sure to pull that up.
Okay. Some Bad Bunny.
Some Bad Bunny.
I feel like, I just get confused with all those artists because there's a few of them that are like some adjective and then an animal. Right, I feel like there's another person who calls themselves like.
I mean,
I don't know.
Freddie Gibbs is Big Boss Rabbit. Slam me. Big Mac 11 back at the 7 on some bullshit.
Oh, Freddie
I
Gibbs.
put a president on my wrist and I got frostbite.
He can
Or no.
rap.
That's a great line.
Hell yeah.
Great line.
Oh, Freddie can rap.
Oh man, so are the Dems coming to take our guns?
They're always trying to come take our guns.
I had a couple of them knock on my door the other day. I was like, "Whoa, this is wild. They can't even vote."
Dems knocked on your door?
Yeah,
Hi.
they were like, "Hey, you got guns?" And I was like, "No." They're like, "Oh, fuck."
The Dems said that?
Yeah.
They probably would have been like, good. You can't vote either? Good. They fucking love not letting folks vote in the primaries. Republicans love letting folks vote in the biggins.
No, I
We
don't
have
know.
all the
I think-
redistricting going on all over
I think
Colorado.
they're probably going to go for that vote this next presidential election.
Which vote?
I think, and I don't know nothing, but I think the Republicans are about to seem a little more inclusive than they have in the past.
Is that
And I bet it gets Trump reelected.
they're going to be more inclusive? Is that like a dog whistle to be more racist?
No, the opposite. I think they're going to be more inclusive. That would be exclusive. That's the way they kind of are right now, whether they mean to be or not.
Gotcha.
And so I think,
And they're going to run Trump again
hell yeah.
on a more
Because
broad
right now-
GOP ticket against Kamala Harris.
fucking, they're not going to race fucking Kamala, boy.
They're not going to run
They
Joe.
know.
Joe shit his pants at
Well,
the fucking
I know,
Vatican.
I heard. Poor fucking thing.
I just feel bad for
Well,
Brandon.
and then no
Biden.
one, the only politician less liked than Biden right now, Kamala Harris.
Yep.
I don't know why, but I thought you were
they're
going to say
trying-
Carl Malone.
No, they're trying to run Pete Buttigieg.
Oh my gosh.
Fucking schmuck.
Have you seen some of the clips from the show? Have you guys seen any of these on Twitter or anywhere?
I've seen. I saw a real small bit,
like
and
the
it was
date night clips?
no. I saw a real small bit from his documentary or whatever the
Yeah,
show,
that's what I'm
whatever.
talking about.
And it was the clips where they're showing like, dude, it was fucking sad. He's
It's
like,
so sad.
He's like, they're basically there and they're watching all of the other candidates on the debate with their wives and shit on and like families on there. Mm-hmm. And his partner's like, are you really going to be the only candidate without your family on stage? And Pete just like, just doesn't. And you're like, oh man, that's like heart wrenching, boy. You're like, fuck.
Oh, if
He don't deserve you, boy.
if ever there was like a CIA plot to like create another president
yeah.
like George W.
Straight
one,
up.
you know, or not George W. George Bush one of just like from CIA lackey into like all this crazy shit that he did for McKinney or whatever that fucking firm is that he worked for. And then he's like just like this manufactured relationship with Chip or Chase or whatever fucking that dude's name is, his partner. And it just looks so fake and not, you know, like that kind of shit where he's just like, we're not gonna be on stage together, and Pete just goes. And the little
sad,
scene I
boy.
saw, like his partner's got his head down there on date night, and his partner's like head down on the dinner table at a restaurant. Pete's like eating fried chicken, and his partner like reaches out and puts his pinky out like on the table like this, and then Pete does the same thing and reaches out and just touches pinkies with him and taps his pinky, like literally is like,
Morse code?
No, not more.
Morse code?
Like a very,
He's like,
a
"Let's
very
get
just
the
like
fuck
they're
outta
there, they're there. But
This
just
chicken
with
dry
this-
as hell, boy.
I can't believe we're here together.
You fucking love this place, and I hate it. And you knew they were gonna film us here too. That's why you brought me here. I gotta eat this dry ass chicken because of you.
He's telling him that Morse code that he learned in the
Get
CIA.
your fucking head up and eat your fucking mac and cheese. You're the only reason we're here.
Oh man, I hope Pete would probably actually be a pretty fun candidate to watch like the Democrats once again like see a bunch of better candidates in the primary and crush those candidates to make sure that Pete gets there to be their man, right? Because it worked so well in 2020.
I'll tell you right now, they do that. Trump is president again in 2024.
Trump or one of those other. I bet Trump Jr. runs probably right after that. Or maybe they'll even run Trump Jr. then. Is he old enough? Is he 30, fucking 6 you got to be to run in this country?
I think he's old enough.
They might as well run Trump Jr. and just let the whole administration,
That boy
run
gotta be in
itself
his
like it
40s
already
now.
does. But yeah, old Biden not doing so good on
Poor thing.
the health stuff. He tooted and shit himself at the Vatican, and then I think something else happened where he just like needed more time or something. I don't know. But he's traveling around. They did just say that they left fucking, what is it, COP26 or something, or 62. That shit
In
ended
Scotland?
today. They walked out and basically said, hey, we made a promise to make sure that we're going to just keep doing whatever the fuck we want. It seemed like, because they're just like, we promised some shit, but we even acknowledge we did not even promise enough to get to the point where we won't have catastrophic like weather changes and loss of millions of lives. We're not really on track for that, nor did we even promise to be. So once again, a bunch of people with money knowing that they'll be perfectly safe probably through all of this, making decisions for like, but except for like the Maldives out there, the whole time they're just like, all these people don't understand that a 1 degree change in Celsius destroys our entire country because they're an island, one that's attached to the earth, not just
I don't believe it.
not the garbage
It's
patch.
not gonna keep
Send the
floating
wind.
up. You know what I mean?
It's not the garbage patch.
Imagine if it just rose. Like, oh fuck, we lost California, but Hawaii came floating in.
Y'all tell me that, but what happened to Atlantis, huh?
Where's
It sank.
Atlantis?
What if that's why it was lost? It's not even like lost underwater. It's just floating around. No one can ever find
It's
it.
in the Himalayas, just like it's all just
People are like, I saw it one day, and then they go back. It's not there no more.
yeah. It's
Floating
actually
on.
Asgard now. Yeah.
In Asgard. Oh man. Well, did we get through all the topics you haven't been watching? We talked about Pete Buttigieg.
I still haven't. I do.
Talked
wanna
about
watch-
Kanye. We talked about Travis Scott.
Yeah. we
What else
haven't-
happened in the news?
Dave Chappelle's been in the news around things, but I haven't watched that either. That was a
know.
little old.
I mean,
But
he has a
on.
really funny special, and there's a whole section of, we'll call it like Twitter and other social medias that like go in on him no matter what he says. And so he addressed it, but people went in on him anyways. And I mean, I think he's funny. And motherfuckers, I know for sure people who like say that he's like transphobic and all kinds of other stuff didn't watch it. I know that 100%. You're like, oh, you're just mad.
The only take I think I saw around that was somebody said it's pretty clear that Dave Chappelle wants to fuck a trans person. I was like, that's an interesting take.
No, I don't know about that. I mean, he's funny though.
Well, I haven't watched it. I'll take that take into account when I watch it, and that's the only take I'll take into account. That's all I'm going to be thinking about. Maybe if it's funny, but last when I watched Dave Chappelle's, I didn't laugh a ton. Still laughed, but
But that
wasn't
one
like
was
a
more of like a
fucking-
rant too. It was like, it wasn't a whole set.
Oh.
Now this set, he goes off on like some of his points. He has some shit to say, but it's not like, it's like a full on stand up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's not like that the George Floyd thing he did, and then the one after he did when Netflix put Comedy Central on Netflix, so they started streaming Dave Chappelle's show, but Dave wasn't getting paid for it. So he did another one then, and basically telling everyone, don't watch it until they pay me. And I guess it's a bunch of new kids at Comedy Central now. They're like, hey, we got money. We'll pay you for them shows. Sorry about what the last people did. Here's your money.
Yeah, yeah.
And so now Chappelle's show is back on Netflix because Netflix took it off for a little bit. Like to stand in solidarity with Dave Chappelle. Pretty dope. Anyways, no, this one's way more, stand up.
Okay. I've been getting around to it. I'll eventually listen, watch it, whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Theo Vaughn has a new one.
I did
Hilarious
put that
as fuck.
on, and I didn't listen to like any of it. I ended up getting busy around the house and didn't listen to a bit of it.
And you can't really watch Theo Vaughn that way because, like, he tells a story.
Yeah, I would jump in and be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Exit.
So he'll tell a story, right? And set up so much, like, kind of context so that when he gets to his punchline, it'll be like some off-the-wall shit you were not expecting to hear. And that's what makes it so funny. Is it's like there's a whole lead up and then he hits you with this like weird, you try your best to think about what he's going to say and he says something else that's so off the wall, it's hilarious. Mm-hmm. But if you're listening casually, you only catch the off the ball part.
Yeah.
And then everyone's laughing and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? But when you watch like his whole like storytelling, you know what I mean? Like the whole joke, you're like, oh, that shit's, you're just weird. It's funny. Weird in a very funny way. I fuck with Theo.
I don't know if I've ever watched any of his stand-up. I see him on like Joe Rogan clips all the time when I'm scrolling through YouTube.
I watch his podcast sometimes.
He's got a podcast too? Fucking everybody's got a goddamn podcast.
Oh yeah, and they're good too. I like them.
I think we should start one.
It's a pretty good idea.
We should start one. You know what? We'll wrap it up this way. This is the announcement, guys, for everyone in the world. You know what I mean? Brand new right now. Look out for a podcast from us. You know what I'm saying?
There it is. Yeah.
Anyways, no, I really am done. You got anything else?
How about Aaron Rodgers is a moron? That's another person in the news.
Maybe.
Fucking just cream of the crop moron. No wonder the Packers haven't won another Super Bowl since.
I don't know him. I wouldn't call him a moron.
I don't think. I'm not a Packers fan anymore at all. And
See, that's wild.
Oh no! That didn't stop me from being a Packers fan. I was.
Okay.
The NFL in general, I'm not really a fan of anymore, and don't watch any of that stuff. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, I know people with Aaron Rodgers' perspective, and while I find it misguided, I don't blame them for having it. I'm like, they're not being intentionally ignorant as much as they're being suspicious.
Intentionally ignorant and
They're
suspicious are easily distinguishable,
I know.
And all I'm saying is that he's a moron. That's why he's suspicious about, there's a good enough amount of evidence out there. I think most people can clear out their suspicions.
I mean,
and like
only if
analysis.
you trust the source of that information. But those people are not college educated. Typically, those people are like
Aaron Rodgers, who went to UCLA and is college educated,
but he also played football.
Has millions of dollars. He
played
does get
football.
his head bashed in for a living.
His job is not to know biology. So to explain biology,
So he called Joe Rogan.
I mean, I don't know.
That's funny, man. Oh man, sorry.
Is it though? What if that's the guy you trust?
Well,
because if you don't know any other scientists, if you don't know any other scientists, you don't know any other sources to find scientists, you've never followed science that way your whole life.
You call a comedian.
And then, no, listen. You don't know any of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the media gives you a scientist. And over the last year and a half, that dude lies so many times and fucks up his entire reputation. Lied to Congress. under oath.
Yeah, Fauci.
So if that's your perception of what science is it wrong of you to be suspicious because you don't know where else to find? You can say that there may be some scientist from over here, but if you don't even know what that is, right? Like, how do you blame someone for just not having been interested in that before enough to know who the actual professionals are experts? And so he called what to him seemed like a perceived expert, if not expert, somebody who's talked to perceived experts. So, I mean, it makes sense to me. You can go ahead and act like, oh, that's dumb, and just call everyone a moron. But I'll tell you, that ain't going to help no one's cause. We're only going to have more unvaccinated that way.
Well, and this didn't have anything to do. He's not a moron because of his choice to not get vaccinated. The whole like rigmarole of saying that he was inoculated or whatever like different word he used to shift what was going on, and then telling people, or at least letting people, you know, in most people's minds, I think around him.
He said he had the antibiotics or something like that.
Most people around him assume that he was vaccinated, and then if you're just operating like everybody else who is vaccinated, that's the part. And then like the added step of doubling down, and you know, I call Joe Rogan and all of that stuff, where you have millions of dollars to find the answers to these things. To have suspicions is completely normal, and I have suspicions of this. I was suspicious of the vaccines when I got my vaccine, not in any kind of way where I was like, I definitely am suspicious enough and believe my suspicions enough to let them affect my actions in this situation, because I do find myself to be a person that has had a good amount of training around this stuff, a pretty decent handling of science and how things work ish. And I felt like, you know what? And there's a bunch of people who are working on this that know way more than me. And I got the vaccine.
I mean, that's how I feel. But I don't blame people, because I've been interested in science my whole life.
I'm not blaming anybody. Blaming him for what? Like saying,
no. So when you say that there's enough information online to do your own research, and
no. Do not do your own research. I said he has millions of dollars to pay someone else to do it.
There's enough evidence to erase suspicion, or whatever you said earlier, right? But again, if I've never been interested, it's like right now, right? You know, I don't know shit about football like that. So if I were to go into fantasy football tomorrow, I may start reading some blogs which I think sound good and like are legitimate football understanding, and then I don't know that that's not real until I start placing some bets. And I realize, oh, this is just some Joe Schmo who don't know the difference. But until I do it, I don't know. And then some person who's loved football their whole life knows all of the best sources for information goes, oh, yeah, you're a fucking idiot. Am I really, or am I just new to this?
You don't know who Nate Silver is? Come on, bro.
Am I really, or am I just new to this? Right? I mean, boys, new to science.
I think it's something that we all.
I don't know. To call them a moron is just, I feel like that's unfair.
Yeah.
I don't think they're morons. I think they just don't know no better. That's not the same thing.
Okay, sure. I just think it is an important thing that I don't know if it's a thing, but it's a habit that we all have to start getting into, because the availability of information and people who can come out and just say, this is my opinion, but it comes out as fact, because everybody just is that fucking whatever the fancy psychology word is to be obsessed with yourself, narcissistic. You know, and TikTok and all these things, that's what people fucking do on there, is they go out and opine about fucking bullshit, and like, oh, did you know that because when you wake up in the morning and your feet tingle, you have ADHD? And every fucking thing I do, I have ADHD or depression or some other fucking thing because TikTok told me. Like, there's so much information, and just because it's info doesn't mean it's necessarily like knowledge, right? Which is the difference there is information and knowledge. You got to start to be able to parse those fucking things apart. And you also, you know, it's really hard to trust things right now. It's going to be a bigger and bigger issue, right? Of trusting media and trusting sources of things. And well, when all of our academic institutions, or most of those, are in bed with so much like capitalistic practices of how they charge tuition, that their sports teams and what they do to those athletes, and how they, I mean, all of that shit, it's all built into that. And so like getting out of it is going to be a little fucking tough, you know? I don't know, guys.
Now imagine you're a professional at that.
Professional at
Football.
Uh-huh.
why would we expect them to
Well, and I don't.
be so quick to understand something else?
Well, and
Before
why
we
should
get
we
into that
also be
point,
so quick?
Steven, did you say you had to leave by 3?
Not by 3, but
All right.
3-ish.
Okay. All right. Keep going. Keep going.
oh, well, yeah, we should probably wrap this up.
All right.
Dang, I just had a good point to make too.
Well, save it for the next
As
episode.
to what you were just saying. Dang. Ooh. Well, yeah, I guess it was
Cheesehead.
Cheesehead. Yeah. Figure out information. It was going to be about trusted sources and shit. That's what I was
Amen.
talking about, but
Is that it then?
that's okay. Yeah, let's write
good?
this out.
All right, man. Well, then, I just want to say real quick to y'all, everybody out there, make sure that you take a moment to take a few intentional breaths today and holla at your peoples that you love and let them know what's up. You never know when and how and what causes and anything that anybody may be here today and not tomorrow. And so just make sure you're embracing relationships of people that you know and you know what I mean, you're not holding back. And then anyways, lost a homie this week, so make sure you guys are saying you love your loved ones and not forgetting to that you could disagree but also love a motherfucker too, you know what I'm saying? And so R.I.P. Coach Todd.
R.I.P. Coach Todd. Sorry to hear that, Justin.
Sorry to hear that to anybody that affects. That's terrible. But I'm a celebrate life guy, and in that sense, make sure you're celebrating life right now. And somebody's life is not wrapped up to the one time, that one moment when they're gone. Their life is still just as big and influential and as beautiful as it was before. So that's what I got to say about that.
And that's the
Holla at
Lone
your
Ranger versus Tonto podcast.
Up in this hole.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we never did the intro for this episode. Bye.
ただ過ぎる時間に見任すか視点グッと上げよう見渡すか雲に乗り瞑想時は経つが太陽めがけ大きなはずが超える時間届け砥石迷いしな知恵向こう岸はまだ遥か追求オリジナル茨の道は今日ある先祖代々の地だ脳の死は使い俺なりが一番ジパングーから360ビゴピノ丸さあどうなる地球は一体あと何周回れるか知らねえが貯める刺繍極上の情報収集スモークセンスいくもここからそこエリアからエリアそこ